In another episode, Dr. Arto Pesola was saying his advice that he's thinking about what will be the conclusion sentence of the study, that it will be something practical, it will give something, and that's how he goes backwards. Do you have any this kind of advice, or what do you think
For
about this?
writing. And article writing and grant writing are two different arts. That's for sure. I could go on about the two of those. But from a writing point of view, yes, when I work with my young researchers, I talk write your purpose statement. Make sure you've got your purpose statement, and your hypothesis. Have those solid, right? And then write backwards from them to justify those. That would be the introduction. The results are the easiest thing to write. You just write exactly what happened, and then the discussion is when you chew it around and talk ramifications and so on. But I'd have to agree, at the very end, I'm trying to write what I call the punchline. What's the main takeaway? And I'm trying it, as you said, try to be practical. What is useful from this? And when I write, I try my best to be understood by as many people as possible. So I try not to be jargony. I try to provide definitions. I try to help the reader from one sentence to the next sentence so that they can get what I'm trying to say to them. And so writing clearly and succinctly and purposefully is also an ongoing practice. I'll continue that all my life.
And how do you feel about, like you said, that don't be jargony, but sometimes we feel that science needs to be something a little bit more complicated. Do you think it should be really simple, or how do you kind of keep that it feels science but not being complicated?
Right. Well, I provide definitions. I never try to, if I have to use, a word that's a jargony word, let's call it, I always will make sure I provide the definition right there where the person needs it, typically in parentheses, right after I've introduced it. Even if the audience might know it, there are people who are going to be reading my stuff who don't know it. So I try not to make assumptions of what the reader knows coming to my article. I try to provide them what they need when they're reading it as they're going along.
And then about the career advice, I had a chance to talk with the Professor Neville Owen, and his advice was that he doesn't want Da Vinci's that are doing everything, but you need to be consistent and have concentrate on something. And I can see that you have concentrated on steps and cadence, and you have kept that. What would be your advice of building a career?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have a research line, a story, right? A story that you can tell. But at the same time, when a young person's first starting out, they might have a couple different stories that they're trying to see which of these is going to work out. And that's okay, and eventually you'll start to see one that's kind of giving way, that's giving more information to you and so on. But you do want to try and build a story or a research line. And that being said, in your career, you can step off into different things. Like today we focused on steps and cadence, but I also, you can find some stuff. I did some work on children walking to school. I've also done stuff on type 2 diabetes. I've done some work on that. I did some work on dog walking. I have done some work on a workstation alternative, so pedal desks and treadmill desks. So I have enjoyed some tangents. And yet what I'm recognized for, and I recognize that, is the step counting. But you can still have these tangents that you can explore that are just stimulating and fun. And that makes research fun.
And what would be, you have probably had a lot of PhD students applying for a position, postdocs and other positions. What would be your advice when applying for a job, when doing the documents, cover letters? What's your lessons from
Well,
there?
you know what? I actually like it when students reach out to me from wherever and just say, hey, and just do a cold call or just say, hi, I'm this person. I'm about to finish here. I have these interests. I may or may not have an opening. I'm going to have some openings in the next year. I may or may not have some openings, but I will know others who might have it. So it's okay to check into and contact your heroes and just say, hey, I'm interested in the work you've done. I'd like to explore this further. Do you have anything, or are you aware of it? Please, don't hesitate to reach out and interact. Whether it's at a conference or in a virtual setting or, just sending an email.
Mm. And you said that you might have new
Yes.
openings. Would you like to advertise them?
Yes, I think I mentioned that we are very sure we're going to be getting a grant in the coming year. We scored very well, and we're going through the motions of settling that up. So I'd say I'm 98% sure I'm going to get that. So that's a pretty confident setting. But I will have postdoc positions and PhD student positions that I'll be looking at hiring later this spring and probably for the next 5 to 7 years.
Mm. And then if I can see you are very energetic, and you are doing the admin, you are doing research, you are doing many things. What kind of advice you would give? Like, there's quite a bit of burnout in academia. There's maybe not the perfect job satisfaction. What would be your advice on this?
You know what? First of all, job satisfaction. Best job ever. Best job ever. And because I came into academia late in life, so I'm what's considered a mature student. And before that, I was working in retail and I was working in not-for-profits, and talk about burnout. So when I stumbled into higher education and into research and science and being creative and autonomous, and oh my gosh, what a life. What a life. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, you are rejected. Yes, it comes with its times where you've got to reflect on it. But what an opportunity to interact with people internationally, across disciplines. I'm kid in a candy shop most days. It's just wonderful. And I feel like I'm doing something purposeful. And now as an administrator, I feel like I'm impacting others' lives, students, faculty, staff. I'm making a difference. And so those are the things that keep you going forward. But to manage the work is, you can't do this alone. Oh my gosh. Get some friends, get some colleagues, get some interdisciplinary people surrounding you who challenge your thinking and who expand you. And like I say, hire the best team and arrange the people around you who support you and give you what you need to succeed, and then you'll enjoy every day, even when it's coming at you hard.
Mm. So you would say it's the best job in the world, and advice is to get great colleagues around you, but it still seems there's quite a bit of burnout and problems. Why do you think is that? Do people kind of have a wrong approach? Don't they see the meaningfulness or the impact they are doing? What do you think is wrong with the system or with the persons, how they approach it?
Well, we talk about resilience, and resilience, the idea to be able to bounce back, right? So and it's tough to train somebody in resilience without having them go through failure. So when I work with young people and I'm trying to teach them resilience, and if they're winning and they win a lot, it's like in my head I'm going, oh, they need a failure soon. They need a failure soon. Because if you're used to winning, the first time you fail, it's going to just take you off the tracks, and you're going to quit, and you're going to give up, and you're going to go open a card shop somewhere or something like that. And it's just like, no. I want you to be able to have, with my support, fail a little, lift you up, fail a little bit more, lift you up. Fail a little bit more.
Mm.
You can still manage this. And the more of those failures you've racked up, and then you get a success. Oh, that tastes so sweet, right? That tastes so sweet that you keep going after that drug. It's like, I'm going back in there again, and you fail again, and that's okay. But it's like being entrepreneurial. We talk about entrepreneurial scientists. The idea of an entrepreneur doesn't always mean capitalism. Entrepreneurial means that you are a go-getter, that you are resilient. You are used to the idea of failing quickly and getting up and trying it again. That's an entrepreneur. So trying to provide this entrepreneurial spirit to our young scientists is I'm very interested in supporting the up and comers, the ones who are going to replace me. I'm very interested in trying to help them have the mettle to succeed.
I think that's a great point. I'm an entrepreneur and have been a researcher also, so I think I follow you there with the fail fast, and I think the academics have a different attitude, and I think they're good. How do you foster this in your team, or do you have any special ways of doing it? How do you encourage people to fail fast, or what's your approach?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have dialogue. I meet with my team twice a week, but even as an administrator. So we have dialogue, and then they can reach me anytime. But we have constant dialogue, and I try to discuss and share my stories. We find out where they're at. We find out what are they struggling with right now. We have the team approach where everybody's coming around to help problem solve for the individual. If we need to bring in more people to help out, we do that. And you're trying to constantly help them find the resources. What is it that you need to manage the struggle you're undergoing right now? And that seems to foster that. And then quickly, as part of a team, then they start to embrace that culture as well. And they also are giving as much as they are getting. So, like I say, you can't do this alone. If you are, you're going to fail the whole thing. You need your team.
Yeah. And I think for many researchers, the admin is the worst part of the job. The bureaucracy, kind of slowly moving system in universities, in a big institutes. You have went to admin intentionally, so you are one of the few. How is your attitude? How do you manage the administration tasks? What is the attitude? How do you approach and stay positive with
well,
them?
That's an interesting thing. I think that's that's unfortunate that we pass this on to our young researchers and such, that administration is the dark side, right? That's the common sort of thing. You've gone over the dark side. And it's unfortunate because it's a folklore that we pass on. And I'd like to see it as I'm an enabler. And yes, we have to work through systems, and yes, there are rules, and yes, there's policies, but I'm there to help you navigate that. I'm there to help push it away, to allow you to spread your wings. I'm there to be that person who provides the pathway forward. And the fascinating thing, Ollie, is I've now mentored postdocs and PhD students while I've been an administrator. So they get to see me in that capacity. They see when I step away and become the researcher. They see me when I step away and be the administrator. They know they have to work through my executive assistant to get to me and so on. So they see that. And we've had discussions, and I say, so now that you've worked with me, would you ever consider admin? And they go, yes. And I'm just saying, yes. I mean, they are like 20 or more years out from taking on a high-level administrative position. But I'm so excited that I exposed them to this possibility this early in their life, because a lot of the young people I work with before that could only see out 5 years, could only see getting the tenure, could only see, getting the next thing. And I'm going, you got a career ahead of you that's, for some people, 30, 40 years or more, right? And for a young person to say, yeah, I have been impacted by what I've seen you accomplish and what you've done, and I can see that in my future. And I'm going, I'm happy. I mean, I'll be dead and cold in the ground by the time they get to it, but happy that they can even embrace the idea.
Mm. So you said that as an admin, you see yourself as an enabler. You enable things. Do you have any other things how to see that it's a nicer, a meaningful work to do
Right.
it?
Again, because of the unfortunate folklore that we've, talked about in MINS, the young researchers are scared of their chairs, their deans, their provosts, and whoever else is in power, and so they will not engage in conversation. They'll hide from them. They'll think the worst of them, and it's absolutely the opposite. I have worked with a number of administrators who are very authentic individuals, who are very interested in the success of their faculty and staff. Every one of us in an admin used to be a PhD student somewhere, right? And so we've
Mm.
sat on that side of the table. We understand that intimately. And so I would say engage your administrators, have the discussions with them, step up to leadership positions where there are opportunities, learn, and being being an administrator is, like I say, the joy comes in other successes. So not only do I get excited about my own success, which is all fun and well, but now I've amplified this because I've got 200 faculty and staff, and their successes make me joyous because I get to brag about them and pretend like it's my success.
Yeah, no, no. This is very interesting discussion about the admin side, and I think you bring a really interesting perspective on it. I'm thinking that I will publish this as a own part, and I'm already thinking of the title. That is it. Admin is not the dark side, or what would be your suggestion
No,
for the
that is absolutely it.
title?
Once upon a time, there was a couple of us women researchers who had gone into administration, and we had thought we'd do a special symposium at ACSM, but they didn't accept it. And I'm going, oh, you're lost, guys. I mean, that would have opened up so many young people because, especially those of us, so many of our, again, young people, they're working with researchers. They've got grants and they think that research is it, and they're going to be a mini me. They're going to be the researcher, and they think of the administration as the dark side and the people to be worked around and the killjoys and all that sort of stuff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's such a sad story that we have translated to our young people because they've got to learn how to work with it, navigate the system, and see themselves in those positions because there's lots of opportunity in to make a difference in administration and to make an impact.
Mm. And I think many people forget that when you have a bureaucratic system and humans are as numbers
Yeah.
in a way, it is equal because then you actually treat everyone the same way and through the
Yeah.
process. So it's actually the basis of equality.
And Ollie, I also have to say that, again, part of the folklore is that, oh, if you go into administration, your research career is dead. Like, you're no longer, you're not no longer one of us. And I'm going, what? And so that was one of the reasons I actually insisted. I said, I'm going to be research active. And the people who hired me here said, nobody's ever done that. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. And here I am about to get another grant. So, and I credit the reviewers of my grant also, understanding that I could do both because it would have been possible for my reviewers to say, oh, well, she can't do research anymore. She's an administrator. But I credit them for being able to see that, yes, I still have interesting research questions to ask, and I can still assemble a team to make this happen, and I can be an administrator. So I'm happy that they could see that.
Mm. And how do you manage time? How do you have any tips? Do you share like different tasks for a different part of a day, or how do you manage your time?
Again, it's team. You know what I mean? It is really team, and I'm fortunate that I have not only my faculty research and team, but I also have my administrative team. So I'm at a level now where I have an executive assistant who books things for me and schedules things for me, and makes sure that I have what I need as I'm going to meetings. So that's helpful. And then I also have associate deans who work very close to me that I'm able to delegate important things to, so that they have that, so that I can focus in my administrative role as a dean more as a visionary and more on external relationships with corporations and not-for-profits and our alumni. So that's the role that I play right now as an administrator, and also relationship building. So I try to have good relationships with my faculty and staff and team members, and so that's where I focus a lot of my energy. And then when it comes to writing, again, I'm writing in teams, and so they often are doing the heavy lifting, and then I come in afterwards and do more of the editing and or conceptualizing originally. So again, I'm not doing it all. It's shared work.
Yeah, sounds really good. Do you have any final remarks you would like to say?
Um, Well, I mean, like I say, I keep saying about the young people, but that's because I'm at the closing in of my career. I'm probably, like I say, 5 to 7 years out from calling it a day. And I never actually thought I'd say that, because when I was younger, I just thought I'd work forever. And now I'm going, no, I think I could step away from this. I'll probably always write, and I'll probably always try to mentor in some way or another. So I enjoy those aspects, but it'll be on my own time. And so I'm interested in those who will replace me, the up and coming, the young people. And I would say that there's lots of opportunity, and don't buy into the stories of that it's going to be worse off, it's going to be harder, it's going to be more challenging. Don't give in to those stories. Instead, look at the opportunity that there is, the impact that you can have to do good and make things better, and know that your contributions are, as a scientist, you're creating new knowledge. Somebody's never known this before, and that's exciting. And you can really work to make the world better. So don't give up on that. Keep pushing.
Nice last words. Thank you for taking time for this podcast, Catherine.
Thank you, Ollie. I enjoyed myself today.